Hello, thank you so much for showing interest in being part of our choir. I wanted to touch base a bit on music theory. This is basically learning how to understand the language of music, so reading music. And so I'm just going to start off with some basic music theory. So when you think of music, you think of stuff like this, right? Like printed music, not just what you hear, but what you see. So this is kind of like the language in which we know what sounds to sing. These lines, they're called a staff, and then there's two staffs. There's the treble clef. This is treble clef. This is bass clef. These are usually where the women's voices sing. This is where the men's voices sing. This would be like flutes, clarinets, saxophone, trumpets. They're going to play their music up here. Down here, we've got the trombone, the tuba, the bassoon. So basses and tenors, sopranos and altos. This whole setup here is called the grand staff. Okay. And each of the kind of parts of the grand staff have specific note names. This treble clef is also known as the G clef because you see how it kind of circles around this line? Look what note that is. Right there. This circles around this little line. This is the G clef. So it's kind of a shortcut to know exactly what it is you're supposed to sing. It's kind of like a cue in for that. So G clef, treble clef. And these are the note names. And you're going to want to kind of play around with these to know the note names so that if I tell you what it is, you know what I'm talking about. You might go online and find like a little music theory quiz or something along those lines. So the bottom line of the treble clef is E, F, G, and then it starts over. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, over and over again. So, whatever works best for you. But, kind of studying this, I might even be able to find some online quizzes for you to use to learn to kind of recognize these notes. Sopranos and altos, these are especially important for you to know. Now, men, this is the bass clef. It's also known as the F clef, and you'll notice right here, see how it has a little dot right there? If you follow that line all the way over here, get this circle, guess what? It's an F. So if you need a shortcut to remember the name of the note, this is F clef. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and it starts over. These are some shortcuts you'll notice for both treble clef and bass clef. E, G, B, D, F, F, A, C, E, G, B, D, F, A, A, C, E, G. Those are like shortcuts to remember things. So every good boy does fine. Face in space. Good boys deserve fudge always. Ace, not face. I don't remember the shortcut for this. In addition to like these specific locations being a specific pitch, a specific note, you'll sometimes see these little lines above or below the staff. Those are called ledger lines. They're just like additional lines to kind of give you a reference point for what note you're singing. So, women, we're not really going to sing anything up here. We might sing this note right here on a very rare occasion. We probably won't actually sing it, but these lower ones are important to know, especially if you're an alto, because altos are going to sing D, C, B, A, probably not a G, but at least down to an A on a semi-regular basis. And tenors, it's important to know what these ledger lines are up here. I most commonly see, C, D, E, F. Basses, I don't think any of our music has any of these ledger lines in it, but it's important for you to know that. So that's the first thing I want you to know, is just understand what the written language is. Now, I'm going to pause this video and see if I can find a little quiz. All right, so there's this website called, I don't know if you can see it, musictheory.net, note identification. If you click on a note, sorry guys, I'm going to turn this to off of dark mode. Turn off of dark mode. I don't know what I did there. Okay, so you click on a note, here's That's not a D. So we're supposed to, it quizzes you. So this is a C sharp. I know this. Where's my C sharp? There we go, C sharp. I happen to know that the top line of the treble clef staff is an F, so that note is a G. We know that the first ledger line below the treble clef is a C. This is a C flat. Our music is never going to show that to you. Little clue here, remember this is a treble clef or a G clef. Oh look, it's on the same line, so that's a G flat. The next next video will tell you a little bit more about these symbols, sharps and flat. This is one note below the ledger line. That's a B sharp. You also never see any of our music here. This is a G sharp. Top note of the treble clef is an F, so this is an E. This is an E flat. And then it's going to give me one more. So we know that the second line is a G. Note before it, below it would be an F. I don't know why it keeps giving me a test. So you get the idea here. So you may want to try this out. So this website again is musictheory.net. So, you know, you can study it. I recommend it. The only things I want you to worry about right now are note identification. You don't need to do key signature identification yet, unless you already know a little bit more about music. But at some point, we're going to identify intervals and chords. And this is kind of further down. I don't even know what this is. Note construction. That's a B natural. Submit answer. I don't know. Anyway, so use this as a resource. I also found, I just Googled. So I Googled music theory quizzes for beginners. I clicked on this first thing here. If you scroll down, what is this note in the treble clef? If we know this is a G, we go lower, F, E. This happens to be an E. So there's ways that you can kind of quiz yourself at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to try to link this this to the video so you can click it and study at home. Make flashcards, do what you need to do to learn. You know how you learn best, so I'm going to let you kind of gauge what your brain needs from you to learn these. Let me know if you have any questions, but spend a week, learn this, and we'll go from there. Thank you.